Hello everyone, myself Vivek Chandra Sunori. I am Assistant Professor of Department of Medical Lab Technology in CTU University, Ludhiana, Punjab. Today my topic of presentations is blood and its compositions. Today we will discuss about the blood and its compositions. What is blood? Blood is a connective tissue which flow in our blood vessels. The components of blood are the components of blood is cellular components and on non-cellular components. The cellular component include RBC, red blood cells, WBC, white blood cells, and platelets. Non-cellular components is plasma. Red blood cells, it is also known as erythrocyte. It contain hemoglobin. The major functions of hemoglobin is transport oxygens to various parts of the body. The binding capacity of the oxygen is 4. Hemoglobin to oxygen is 4:1. It means the 1 molecules of hemoglobin can bind 4 molecules of oxygens. The lifespan of RBC is about 100 to 120 days. Now, generally, what is the cellular components of the body? Cellular components of the blood, generally there are 3 components of blood: RBC, WBC, and platelets. RBC, red blood cells is the non-cellular parts of the body. The normal size of 7 micrometer in size. There is no presence of nucleus. It is also called red blood corpuscles, because the difference between cell and corpuscles, the major characters of the cell, it contain nucleus. No, without nucleus we can't say the components it is cell. So in RBC there is no presence of cell, so it is called red blood corpuscles. The major functions, RBC contain hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a protein part which made up of 2 components, heme and globulin. Globulin is a protein part and heme is the iron component. They can together called hemoglobin. Then the normal functions of hemoglobin, it bind to the oxygens and transport the oxygens to the various parts of the body, okay, through the blood. And second thing the hemoglobin play the major role in providing the color of blood. Due to the hemoglobin, our blood color is red. The second cellular components of our blood is white blood cells. It is also called leukocyte. The white blood cells, it contain nucleus, but the white blood cells, the major role of white blood cells is it play the major role in the defense mechanism of our body. We can say white blood cells are the army of our body. It kill or neutralize the microorganism, the pathogen which enter inside our body and can cause disease. WBC mainly white blood cells mainly classified into 2 classes. Number first is granulocytes and number second is lymphocytes. Granulocyte include neutrophil, basophil, and eosinophils. Granulocyte means the structures of granulocyte cell is granule-like structure. It include neutrophil, basophil, and eosinophil. The major role of neutrophil play the major role in the primary defense mechanism of the body. Okay, primary defense mechanism means when a bacteria through the phagocytosis, primary defense mechanism through the phagocytosis. The phagocytosis is a process in which the neutrophil engulfs the microorganism, the pathogens, directly engulfs the microorganism and the pathogen. What happen in the phagocytosis? There are many sites in our body where the microorganism can enter in our body through the ingestions, through the inhalations, and through the skin, various sites, various portal of entry, which known as portal of entry of the microorganism. Okay, various sites. When microorganism enter in our body, the neutrophil or polymorphonuclear, neutrophil also known as polymorphonuclear. So neutrophil are activated and they search the microorganism which enter in our body, and they go catch the microorganism. They catch the microorganism and digest the microorganism directly. The process is known as phagocytosis. Second is eosinophil and basophil play the major role in the fighting with the carcinogen, cancer causing substance. Okay, the major eosinophil and basophil are the cells which play the major role in fighting with carcinogen or cancer causing substance. Second things is lymphocyte. Lymphocyte are classified into two classes, B and T lymphocytes. Okay, B lymphocytes play the major role in the productions of antibody. B lymphocytes play major role in the production of antibody. There are 5 type of antibody which are produced by the B lymphocyte. Number first, IgM, IgG, IgA, IgE and IgD. The IgM play the major role in the first defense mechanism of our body. Okay, IgG mainly IgM fight with the acute type of infection. Early infections, for fighting with the early infections, IgM play the major role. In chronic infection, the IgG play the major role for the fighting with chronic infection. IgA is play the major role in the primary defense mechanism, like IgA present in our tears, IgA present in our saliva. They play a major role to kill microorganism which enter in our eyes, which enter in through our mouth. So IgA play the major role in primary defense mechanism. IgD is an antibody which is the delta type of antibody, play the major role in conditions of leukemia. Leukemia is the conditions of the blood cancer. And IgE, the last antibody produced by the B lymphocyte, the IgE play in the major role in the hypersensitivity reaction or allergic reaction. T lymphocytes is also known as natural killer cells. Natural killer cells means कि they does not play any role, they does not play any type of mechanism, they does not follow any type of mechanism. They directly come and kill the microorganism by the natural killing mechanism. Okay. Third thing is platelet. Cellular parts of our blood is the third thing is platelet. Platelet is the tiny blood cells help in our body to clotting mechanism. Clotting mechanism when our body, when our cell, when our blood vessels get damaged, platelets it sends signal to the platelets and platelet come and form a platelet plug. There are 13 type of 13 type of clotting factor in our body which play the major role in the platelet formation of blood clotting. Primary functions of blood platelet is the homeostasis. Homeostasis means the formations of another blood cells, or hemostasis. Thrombosis. Thrombosis means the blood clotting. Wound healing by the formations of platelet plug. They help in the wound healing. And the normal lifespan of the platelets is 7 to 10 days. Non-cellular parts of our body is plasma. Plasma is a light yellow color liquid. It is the non-cellular parts of our blood. It contains 55% of blood. 45% of blood is our cellular components and 55% of blood is our Plasma. Plasma carry water, salt, enzyme and other nutrients throughout the body, and the major role of plasma, it contains three types of protein: albumin, globulin and fibrinogen. Albumin, globulin are the blood protein which help in formations of antibody, and fibrinogen is a protein which play the major role in the mechanism of blood clotting. Fibrinogen convert during the blood clotting process. Fibrinogen convert into fibrin and they form a platelet plug, which result when damage of our cell, when there is a damage in our blood vessels, there is a damage in our cells, they form platelet plug and stop the bleeding. Normal lifespan of the RBC, is 100 to 120 days. After the 120 days, our RBC dies and it decompose. RBC are decomposed into the pancreas, where they convert into bilirubin, and bilirubin is the component which give color to our urine and stool. And normal lifespan of the WBC is 10 to 20 days. WBC, white blood cells, major role, it play major role in the defense mechanism and the various functions of blood. Blood play major function. There are many functions of blood in our body. There are number first, transportation. Blood play in the major role of transportations, such as nutrient transportations through the blood in various parts of the body. Number second, it help in transportation of oxygens with the binding with the hemoglobin throughout the body. Regulatory functions, blood play in the major role in the body regulations, hormonal regulations, and maintain the acid-base balance. Protective functions means ki blood play the major role in the primary and secondary defense mechanism by the producing with the help of WBC like neutrophil, basophil and eosinophils. Thermoregulations and also play protective functions through the antibodies. There are 5 type of antibody which we earlier discussed about it, and also play the major protective functions by the natural T lymphocytes which play natural killer actions. Thermoregulations, blood also play the major role, play the important role in the maintaining the body temperature. Second things, acid-base balance and maintenance of pH. Acid-base balance, blood also maintain the body acidic and basic environment, and the pH of our body, also maintain the temperatures of our body. There are many other roles of blood. Actually, I will summarize all the things. What is the RBC, what is WBC, what are the platelets, and I will summarize in detail. RBC, what is the actually the cell, the functions, the actually characters of cell RBC. Why we don't say the RBC, it is the cell. Why it is called red blood corpuscles? Because the every cells, there are 2 types of cell, prokaryotic and eukaryotic, unicellular and multicellular. RBC is also a cell, but there is absence of nucleus, so we can't say this is the cell, and we said red blood corpuscles. Okay, the size of RBC is 7 micrometer and lifespan is about 100 to 120 days. Second thing, the correct WBC is the cellular components of the blood or play the major role in the defense mechanism. There are many functions of WBC in our body, like they play defense mechanism, phagocytosis, primary and secondary defense mechanism, all the things.